All right, gents. It's Wednesday. We have a delayed recap this week. I was really hoping for, a classic John complaining. I win this week, game of the week, I won, and no recap. Classic John. Didn't happen. Hope he's doing all right. Don't know. Obviously, something's wrong. If he's not complaining, because that's it's John's MO. We know that, especially in fantasy. Very interesting week. Lots happened last week. A lot of controversy around our league. So let's just jump into it. Game of the week: John versus Cameron. A rematch of Cameron's only loss in the first week, I believe John said it was. And John repeats, takes the win once again, dropping Cameron to 9-2, still first overall, but inching closer. John at 8-3, making a name for himself. John Cornobis in fantasy baseball, again, very unusual. Never finished higher than 6th place in fantasy baseball. Sorry if I keep looking down. I'm playing Pokemon. Dude, check out my Game Boy, dude. It got Gengar on it, dog. Anyway. Big week for John, getting the win. Pretty good matchup as well, 319 to 291. One of Cameron's lower scoring games. Definitely not his most impressive, that's for sure. Big yawn. So, big win for Johnny here. About a 10 or 20 point win. John complaining a lot about his injured list, but if you look at his team right now, he's only got 3 people and then 2 day-to-days. So, it's a little rough, but it could be worse. Cameron himself also has 4 injured and 1 day-to-day. So it was an equal matchup, John. Complaining about his injured list. Shut the fuck up. A lot of controversy around me telling John that he had someone on his bench. What had happened was I was looking at the saves, our league scoreboard or standings, and who was leading in different categories. At the time, Jake was leading. He still is. John was about 8 or something behind him, and then I was just behind John. That is still the case. But I was like, I wonder what closers these guys have. So I went and I looked at their rosters, saw John's roster, saw that he had Spencer Strider on the bench against the Mets. You think that's going to be a good matchup? I said, you know what? Let me be a good commissioner. John's always saying I got it out for him. And then the league was not happy about that. Connor spilling dirty secrets. Turns out, didn't really matter. Spencer Strider had a negative day, I believe. Oh, I already closed it. I think he had like negative 10. Gave up a grand slam I think he had 7 earned runs that day. I could be wrong. Whatever. Negative game. So, is it really that bad of a thing? Who's to say? I don't know why I'm yawning all of a sudden. Anyway, continuing. Chumba falling once again, losing to Jake. Jake moving to 6-5 in the plus column. Real rough game for both of these fellas. Jake having a solid 323.5, but he's only starting 5 guys. So if Jake can do that with only 5 starting pitchers, pretty impressive. Starting pitchers give you a ton of points. Chumba, however, also only started 5 and gave up and had 300 or 232 points. I can't fucking read today. So we're doing great. But Chumba's falls to 1-10. And I know what everyone's thinking. That's pretty bad. And it's bad enough to be, you heard it here first, below Owen. Everyone knows Owen, our lovable fat cock at the bottom of the league. Turns out Chumba said, no, Owen, I'll take that position. I want to be at the bottom of the league, even though I'm not fat cock. So Owen's getting weighed down by that monster between his legs, and Chumba just jealous, I guess. Don't know what, but Chumba falls to 1-10. Absolutely embarrassing. Somehow, still not eliminated from playoff contention, however. So big for Chumba. Moving forward, Eddie taking down Connor, 326 to 230. Eddie moves to 6-5. Connor falls to 8-3, falling from first in the division down to second in the hard-working taxpayer bracket. Tough, as we know, those first two seeds get a bye in the playoffs. So Connor just lost his first round bye. Still got a couple weeks to go before we jump into the playoffs. So anything is possible. The two newbies going head-to-head once again. Skyler taking down Owen, 242 to 192. I just, at what point does the league step in? Because not only is Owen just getting his dick kicked in, his fat cock kicked in every week, but he's doing it embarrassingly. So, Owen scored 192, however, didn't do his chug last week, so he loses another 15 points, which brings him to 177. Regardless of that 15 points, he was going to be the lowest scorer once again. So Owen owes us yet another chug in back-to-back weeks. I feel like we should have a compounding. I got a meeting in 15 minutes. I feel like we should have a compounding rule. Maybe we'll add that. If you're multiple weeks in a row, you gotta do something to, like a double chug or something. Well, who knows? We'll figure it out. Brochard making his push. I guess he's found his time. He's like, okay, time to attack. Moves to 4-6-1, taking down Griff. Griff falls to 6-5, 318 to 266. Gonna make things interesting. We have multiple teams all clustered in the middle. We have our 4 teams at the top. Cameron and I tied at 9-2. John and Connor tied at 8-3. Shocking. Both in their respective divisions. But then our next couple of teams are all clustered around the same rough area. 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, 5-6, 4-6-1. So we have 4 playoff spots that are not guaranteed, but that seem pretty fairly mapped out. Like there's a clear path. All 4 of the first 4 teams have over a 90% chance of making the playoffs. Cameron and I at 99%, John at 95%, Connor at 94%. Those next, 5 teams that have a real shot at the playoffs range from 57 or 68% all the way down to 17%. So these next couple of weeks are really gonna matter on a week-to-week basis, I should say, not day-to-day. Week-to-week basis, these matchups are going to be a huge deal for those trying to make their playoff pushes. So Brochard, seeing a time to strike, jumps on Griff. Griff falls to 6-5. Again, if Griff wins this, he'd be 7-5 and be kind of separated from these teams. But that win by Brochard's a big one. Really going to make a difference in a couple of weeks. And then we close. I got the W against Alec, 322 to 246.5. Alec also not looking too hot. Just above Chumba, sitting at 2-9. Above Chumba at 1-10. Oh, sorry, I just got really confused because I'm like, why is Chumba in the hardworking taxpayer division? And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It did at the beginning of the season. I just got so confused myself. But it's fine. Everything's correct. I was like, these two shouldn't be in the same division. They should be. It's absolutely correct. Looking at this week's game of the week. Oh, interesting. I think I'm gonna run. It's a run back. we have two options here. Brochard and Griff are playing again. And Brochard just won, dropping Griff. Again, that matchup's going to be, that win is going to be big, but if Griff can get it back here, might cancel it out. However, Connor and I are playing each other, the 1 and 2 in the hardworking taxpayer division. So, I think I've been in the game of the week a couple times now, but I think based off of what it means for the number 1 seed, I think I have to put myself back in there. Connor and I, game of the week, going head to head. We're mid matchup. Obviously, it's already Wednesday. I got a little bit of a lead on Connor, but it's early. It's early in the week, so who's to say? I do have a meeting I have to jump into. I got to get this posted, and the Mets game just started. So, let's go try and hit that over. That's a recap. That's the game of the week. We will see you fellas next week, hopefully on Monday. But we'll see, because I got a lot of things happening on Mondays now. So, I am working. Whatever. That's it. Bye.